Excuses, right?
Yes. Hello, hello, hello. This is Elizabeth and Elton Brewington. We've been on since 9 a.m. this morning. We started with our military appreciation. We had our wonderful veterans. And don't forget, everybody needs to get to New York to see some amazing dance performances on that beautiful museum by the sea. So over to you, Philip. Tell us all about it.
Sure. Hi, my name is Phillip Hogan. I am the author of Relentless Excellence, a story of family, business building, and value driven leadership. And before I get into it, I just want to thank Elizabeth and Brightside Presentations for this wonderful introduction and inviting me not only to the show, but to the community. And all of my previous presenters are excellent. It's just wonderful to meet you all, and I'm honored to be in your presence. You are tremendously inspiring to me as a new author, and I'm sure you are making some serious impressions on the communities that you serve. So, so in 2025, I was approached to become a guest to a podcast, and I was like, okay, great, let's be a guest to the podcast. Because my other role is I'm also the CEO of Signing Services of America, which is a national notary signing service. And our tagline is we reallocate time back to our clients by hiring any one of our 65,000 notaries to represent our clients and having various legal and mortgage documents properly executed. So that was the purpose of the invitation to the show. So, we're having this great conversation, and it was really going well. And, they agreed for me to come on, and I accepted. And then as we were ending our conversation and I'm moving on to other matters of my day, I was asked, have you ever written a book? And up until that time, I said, well, no, I hadn't. I'm just so busy with other things that I just never gave it any thought. Well, he convinced me that I should write a book. And he happened to be a publisher. And so I thought about it. I came home and not came home, but I talked to my wife, and we went back and forth. And she said, "Why not?" And I said, "Why should I?" And she said, "You can." And I said, "I will." So there we have it. So I started the writing the book process, and oh my goodness, what an experience that has unfolded as a result. I have met some wonderful people, some wonderful authors, worked in some serious, very, very good communities. And now I'm on the Brightside platform talking about Relentless Excellence, a story of family, business building, and value driven leadership. And the tribute to the book is really my parents. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in Hempstead, Long Island, back in the early 70s and 80s. And my parents were entrepreneurs. And if anybody in the community has grown up into entrepreneurial family, then you'll understand what I'm about to say. Is that our centerpiece of conversation was often at the dinner table, breakfast table, or a car ride from Hempstead, Long Island to Manhattan, New York to work in the business was about business. And so my father, who was a retired New York City, may he rest in peace, a decorated New York City police detective. When he retired, he became an entrepreneur, and my wife may she rest in peace, his wife, my mother, was the accountant. And so I have these two brilliant people, I'm the only boy. So my elder sisters had left the family. So I was left, guess what? To work within the business and to be embraced by these brilliant people who were driven to success. They were driven to excellence. And as a third generation entrepreneur, I had no choice but to follow suit. So, so while the book talks about some of the experiences that I collected by working with my parents and building their businesses and applying those same lessons to building my two businesses, the real essence of the book is to inspire individuals to pursue your dreams, is to speak to the minds of the small business owner or the growing business owner who may be discouraged, who may say, "Can I really do this? It's just so frustrating. I'm not making any money." There were many days when in both of my businesses that I paid the bills before I got paid, and I didn't get paid much. But that wasn't the important thing. Was to keep the business going, to continue to meet the needs that my clients expected of me or us. And in time, payroll, I began to get paid. And then, the business continued to scale. So many times as a small or growing business owner, there are periods of frustration, of uncertainty, of disappointment, of failures. I remember one time when I remember one time with my second business, how we had secured an account that was paying us $25,000 a month. Just one account, $25,000 a month for a relatively new business. That's a lot of daggone money. And so, but just as we got it, we lost it. And I was like, oh my gosh, Philip, how could you do this? How could you work so hard to achieve this level of success only to lose it? And then I could have stayed there. I could have stayed in that moment of sadness, of sorrow, of regret, and uncomfortability and failure. But I didn't. What did I do? Well, I looked at what was the reasons why I lost that account. And when I put my finger on the reasons why, I realized this must be the reason that I change a particular strategy. And I changed it. And it was one of the best moves that I could ever made in my second business. Because as a result of learning that lesson, I made sure to never ever repeat it again. So the message to any of the new or aspiring or existing small business owners is that don't let failure be your reason not to continue pursuing what you believe you're meant to do and achieve, because it's there for you. But part of the process of acquiring your goals is you're going to go through some frustrating moments. You're going to go through some sad moments. You're going to go through some moments where self-doubt is going to chase you behind you, like it owes you something. And you have to continue to keep your eye on what it is that you want to accomplish. The other thing that my book will inspire small and growing business owners to do is surround yourself around people who have accomplished the successes that you're looking to accomplish. Don't be isolated. Find the rooms. Find the people who are in the rooms that are doing the things that you want to do, because the more you can be around, the more you can rub shoulders with those individuals, then those individuals are going to have a positive message and leave a lasting impact on you that will allow you to take you home, that will allow you to take home your lessons and thus be able to push forward. Another story that I write about in my book is the pivotal moment that I had to make a choice between working for my existing employer or seeking employment or continue to work to continue to be a self-employed executive director. My first business was the name of it is Housing Matters of New York, and you can go to Amazon, purchase the book, or you can go to my website, which is philliphogan.com, philliphogan.com. Learn a little bit more about me, read an excerpt from the book, and of course, if you like to order it, you can, and we welcome for you to do that. So one of the stories is, and it's a true story. As a New Yorker, I used to work for the New York City Housing Authority. I had a very stable job and had a family, and my career was destined to continue to grow. So my alma mater, which at the time the Metropolitan College of New York, has selected me to participate in a marketing campaign where the institution changed its name from Orchard Court College to Metropolitan College of New York. And when they selected me to participate in this marketing campaign, they brought a photographer to the program to the building where we had the program, and we took pictures, and all these pictures wind up being on the side of New York City transit buses, inside the New York City transit stations and cars, and throughout the five boroughs of New York. My picture was plastered all over the place. And so I got a call from my director, and I used to work for the New York City Housing Authority. And she says, "Listen, Philip," she says, I came to work this morning and I saw your picture on the side of a bus. You want to, what's going on here? What is this? You need to come on in and talk with me." So I said, okay. And I came into the office that day, and she was very happy to see me. But she says, Philip, not only did not you look, it's a very fine picture of you, but more importantly, you're advertising that you're the CEO or you're the executive director of Hogan's Residence, and that was the name of the program at the time. It was renamed to Housing Matters of New York. And I said, yeah. She said, what is it? Tell me more about it. And I told her exactly what it was, and it's a transitional community, transitional residence for formerly incarcerated adult men who are nonviolent offenders, and that they need some place to live, and so when they come home from prison, they were staying in my program. She said, "Oh, great, great, wonderful, wonderful." But she says, "Listen, Philip," she says, "you're a full-time employee with New York City Housing Authority, and we just don't think that that's going to be a good fit for you to continue in the position that you are in, particularly when your future looks so bright with us. So
Okay,
unfortunately."
Philip, you need to wrap up. I'm
Okay,
so
great.
sorry.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, great. And so, moral of the story here is that I was forced to make a decision to either stay on board with the housing authority or quit my job. And I quit. I quit them, and it was one of the best decisions I make. So the book is about, again, I'm making reference to the book, is that my real world experiences can be an inspiration for you. Tony Robbins has a great quote, and his quote is, success leaves trails. Success leaves evidence. And if you follow the trails of successful people and do what they did, then you may be successful as well. So thank you for having me on your program, and I'll end it here.
And we're looking forward to having you tonight and tomorrow as well. So we will get plenty of chances to share different stories. And also, I would love to interview you as well. So we'll definitely be in touch. I didn't mean to cut you off, but my sponsor is here, and I want to just make sure. Thank you, Philip. That was awesome. And if you watched Philip and you thought he was great, write us a comment and tell us what you think. And then we're going to play some games with Gamecraft. So stay tuned. So I will stop recording. I love the back